A new school year, another desire to fit in. Of course, we're talking about peer pressure. And to make matters even worse, there's a new kind of peer pressure out there called digital peer pressure. Chip Coffey from St. Luke's Behavioral Health Center is here to explain what that means and give us some tips on how to talk to our kids about peer pressure, how to deal with it. And then the interesting thing is you brought in some items here to also talk a little bit about drugs and keeping on top of your kids to make sure they're doing the right things.
Right.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Let's first talk about these items here.
Well, what we brought in was a few things that, ways that kids are taking substances into school or even hiding substances. So the first one is many of us remember taking our Dr. Pepper.
Right, absolutely.
But again, these have been adjusted a little bit so that it gives them some options.
There you go. Look at that. So this has been hollowed out in a little container. Now, obviously, the kids are not making these. They're buying them somewhere.
You can purchase those. Multiple places, but especially online.
Okay, you buy them online. This was an interesting one, the Sharpie. I mean, this is something that most kids have, right? Especially a yellow highlighter.
Pretty much all of us have them. Mm-hmm. And what kids are doing is they will actually, and this one you don't have to, you just have to purchase a highlighter anywhere. You take the center of it out, and then you can put your stash inside. Let's see if I can, there we go.
And then you put the white cap back on, except we dropped it
Except we dropped it.
Okay, you guys get the point. You put the cap back on, now you throw this in one of your pockets of your backpack.
Right.
Interesting.
And it looks just like the regular one.
Now, what about the peanut butter and the Pringles container? These aren't little secret holders, are they?
They actually can be, in that kids will empty them halfway out, put the stash on the bottom side of it, put the chips back on. Same thing happens with the peanut butter. Haul out the center, peanut butter on the sides.
And the Listerine and the gum, the Altoids,
Listerine is really where what we're finding is a lot of teens that are draining out the Listerine bottle, putting vodka in, adding a little food coloring so it still looks like Listerine. And that's a real quick access to alcohol.
And you take that to the, okay. So big note out there to parents is check your kids' backpacks. Double check this stuff, feel it around, see if it feels kind of weird. If it's the same can of pop, there's a good chance it's not, right?
Correct.
Let's talk about digital peer pressure. This is something even I'm dealing with my kids here because they're of age. They've got Facebook, Instagram, things like that. And kids can be ruthless on Facebook because we have access to our son's passwords and we see what kids are posting on there.
Well, and what was interesting was the Center for Addiction and Substance Abuse did a survey, and they found that 75% of kids said that by viewing pictures of other kids using marijuana, passed out, using alcohol, actually encourages them to use.
Because what? Because they think it's the norm?
They see it as a normal behavior, and what we found is that those kids then have a higher incidence of usage. They're 4 times more likely to use marijuana than those kids who aren't exposed to those types of pictures.
Well, then how do you talk to your kids so that you don't push them away from you?
To me, and we talked about this, that the communication really should start well below teen years. We need to really start adjusting and talking to our kids when they're younger. The other part of it is the behaviors that we model. It's hard to tell a kid not to use marijuana if you're a marijuana user. It's hard to tell them not to use alcohol if you're drunk every weekend.
But what if you're not? You don't do any of that kind of stuff, and you have to talk to your kids about this tough stuff, especially when their friends are doing it and they maybe just do it to fit in.
It really is about sitting down and telling them what your expectations for their behavior are. And also addressing with them that you understand the pressure and stresses they're under. A big part is that kids will tell us, we don't get it, we don't understand. Reality of it is we were there, we do get it, we do understand, but they see us as being older and really not getting it. So sit down and let them know that you do want to talk about these things, that you're concerned, and that you're willing to listen and hear them out. They shouldn't be afraid to bring anything to you.
Okay, Chip Coffey, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all these new kind of hidden ways. This was interesting, right? The Sharpie, who does this? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.